I think there are very plausible scenarios where the Yankees have the best rotation in the American League. And I think there are variables that could go wrong and that this could be an issue.
Hello and welcome to the Pinstripe Post. My name is Ryan Sampson. He's the star of the show, Joel Sherman. Today is Monday, February 2nd. We are a week away, Joel, from pitchers and catchers reporting. Baseball is right around the corner. And we thought, why not better to start an episode here and talk about three things Yankees fans and just the Yankees in general we should be paying attention to heading into pitchers and catchers. But before we get to any of that, Joel, how are you doing today as you are preparing for a week away from pitchers and catchers?
Yeah, I'm literally, I think probably at the time we're doing this, I'll be standing in the Met Clubhouse next Monday. I'm leaving on Super Bowl Sunday the Mets let reporters in a little earlier because of WBC. The Yankees have this choice. The Yankees are one of the few teams that don't let reporters in. It's par for their course to do that. I think that it's about another 2 days. The 11th or the 12th is their technical report date. John Heyman, besides Greg Joyce, will be there for the Post. I'll be there in about 10 days after that, after spending some time. So, yeah, it's those last days, like the season ends and you think, oh, it'll be a long time till spring training. And then you yawn twice and blink, and here we are.
Yeah, you're not kidding. It just feels like yesterday we were talking about the Yankees getting limited by the Blue Jays and where is this team going? And we were doing postseason wrap up. But here we are preparing for the 2026 season, year three of this show. But Joel, I think Yankees fans, we all understand that they are running back a majority of this team that we saw last year in the postseason on this roster. They're giving another go out of it. It was a team that won 93 games last year, a team that fell one game short of winning the AL East. They beat the Red Sox in the wild card. They obviously did not do well against the Blue Jays. But as they prepare and giving this another shot and go at it with this roster, I think there are three things that I'm really paying attention to, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it. And the first being Mr. Ben Rice, who had a breakout year last year. Ben Rice became a middle of the lineup force bat. You were one of the first on it before in spring training. Actually, believe it or not, last year, you were talking about it to me and saying, look, Ryan, Ben Rice, Yankee people believe this guy can actually be a middle of the lineup bat. And he turned out to be that for them. Now he's going to take over as the everyday first baseman, it looks like, to start because there is no Paul Goldschmidt currently on the roster. So I'm really interested to see how Ben Rice does defensively, not only with his bat continuing, but defensively. That's my primary focus for him being the everyday first baseman. How should Yankees fans pay attention to the development of Ben Rice?
Yeah, I think it's an important issue, Ryan. I think, no, number one, he needs to show that the hints of 2024 and the reality of 2025 is real. He's always going to be a first player wherever he ends up, catcher first or DH, obviously. Uh, is that bat real? He is someplace on the Kyle Schwarber
Mm.
scale, right? Like awesome left-hand power, can tell a ball from a strike. There'll probably be high strikeout numbers, high walk numbers, and homers. How close is he? 80% of Schwarber? Is he 85? I mean, is he 90 for a guy who's making near the minimum? He probably will be the 5 or 6 hole hitter on the team, is my suspicion. Um, so it's important. Can he get close to major league average at first base? I don't know. He was a guy who like it was interesting. There were two things that like stood out to me where I would be like, wow, you watch this and this is far away from something that's major league.
Mm.
And I actually talked about this with somebody from the Yankees yesterday. Ryan McMahon surprises me because he strikes out a lot, and usually guys who strike out a lot chase. Ryan McMahon misses pitches right over the middle of the plate. Like it is strange to see somebody strike out like 30% of the time on strikes. And so that did it. The one with Rice that stood out is he'd miss balls that were skipped balls in the dirt by more than I've ever seen any first baseman, like pretty much who was playing there regularly. Like there was, which was strange to me also because he was a catcher who's blocking balls all the time.
All right.
So that was like a surprising thing to see. So I think he's got a big gap to do. I don't think Paul Goldschmidt is completely off the radar. I think that His numbers against lefties last year were again great. And there could be a role in the play against lefties, play the eighth and ninth inning when the Yankees are leading close to defend for Rice. Will that happen? I think it's one of their moves. I think their most likely right-handed bat will be a corner outfielder who plays left field against lefties with Bellinger moving to center and Grisham on the bench. I think that's their most likely last major league move, perhaps in the next 10 days before spring training or sometime before the beginning of the season. Ahmad Rosario has been told, and I've been told he is working out at first base during the offseason, and he'll get some first base reps in spring training. It is, besides catcher and pitcher, it's the only thing he has not played. He's even played some center field in the major leagues. He hasn't played first base. He probably could handle it close to average. I think the plan, though, is for him to play third base against lefties instead of McMahon. And I think they want Rice to play against a lot of lefties. So like
Mhm.
Rice was interesting last year. I think Rice hit about 205 against lefties last year. I have a piece coming out tomorrow about the Yankees facing left-hand pitching and what exactly they need. I hope people go to it at NY Post. But Rice hit like 205, but he slugged almost 500
Yeah.
against lefties. So like the damage quotient is there enough that I think the Yankees want him to play against the majority of lefties. Therefore, like I think Goldschmidt is a potential move, but they're more likely to get the guy to get Grisham off the field than Rice. And then again, if you really want to get into the finer details, when and if Volpe comes back, let's say May 1st, Caballero could play third against the lefty, and if Rosario can handle it, he could play first. So, like, just as like the
Yeah.
moving parts, Oswaldo Cabrera is around. Could he play first against some lefties and defend late? I don't know. He's got a couple of options left, and if the Yankees get an outfielder, I think it might be tough for him to make the team with full health.
Right.
So I think it's a really important question for the full player because I think Rice's carrying tool is always going to be the bat. And so the question is, can he, a very confident kid who will tell you he's an above average catcher, can he get to and be an average first baseman? If he could, and the offense last year was a hint of where he's going, the Yankees have a really, really valuable guy, especially pre-arbitration numbers for him.
Yeah, look, I think as a fan, I've always been a Ben Rice fan. I love the bat. I love his approach at the plate. The deep,
Confidence,
the
big confidence in
confidence,
himself.
yes, and the
Not
patient.
fake, not the fake stuff, real confidence in himself.
Yeah, he seems to have a lot of energy and swagger, I would say, on the field as well. But the thing is, the defense part, that's where I get concerned a little bit, like late in the game. It's interesting you bring up Paul Goldschmidt and whether the Yankees would weigh bringing him back if they don't get the outfield bat, because defensively, could you just imagine the eighth or ninth inning and Ben Rice just can't scoop a throw from McMahon coming across the diamond, and you're going, oh, what happened here? Like this is something that's preventative. I just From what you've dealt with in Ben Rice and speaking with him, do you feel like he is putting everything he can into
Yes.
mastering that first base position?
Yeah, I think this guy's a worker. I think he'll try at this. I do think, to channel the Ron Washington character in Moneyball when, the Scott Hatterberg thing, it is incredible. Like, I think people throw away first base and be like, and again, if you're going to put an offensive player anywhere on the diamond, that would probably be the place you try to hide
Mhm.
him. But, the first baseman handles the ball a lot. He handles it a lot. There's a lot of throws, there's a lot of relays. The ability to at least get the force out at second base and take a runner out of scoring position, if not start a 3-6-3 or 3-6-1 double play, is incredibly valuable. Ryan, I'm obviously a lot older than you. There's a time in my like teenage years, the first baseman in New York are Keith Hernandez and Don Mattingly. And like they're arguably the two greatest first defensive first basemen in the history of the game. And you just see like they were great at everything. They took away bunt plays. They could throw to the bases. They could scoop. They had great soft hands. John Olerud played in New York. He kind of fit all of those roles. He played for both teams. Tino Martinez
Yeah.
was not very rangy, but he was very, very sure-handed, could scoop, handle things. Like the guys who could really do it bring extra outs and extra confidence to the whole infield. That, hey, I just have to throw it around the bag, and it's going to be okay. And so uh, I don't like when teams just give it away. We saw the Mets take the value of Pete Alonso down
Yeah.
for bringing him back because of his, obviously it wasn't his offensive quotient, it was his defensive quotient. And I don't think it's irrelevant. And since the Yankees are 2 years away from Stanton leaving, with health, he'll be the DH. So there's not some place to kind of take Rice off just for his bat to become the full Schwarber, right? So he's going to have to. By the way, again, I'm not saying Ben Rice is Kyle Schwarber. I'm saying that he has traits like him. And
Yeah.
remember, Schwarber started as a catcher.
Absolutely.
It's easy to forget that now. He was a catcher. He tried first, he tried a little outfield,
Yeah.
and eventually it just became we need you to bat 4 or 5 times a game. I wonder if that's Ben Rice's fate also. But if you're asking me if it's about work, I think he'll put in the work. And does that get him to average? If it gets him to average, it's a big deal for the Yankees.
Yeah, for sure. And the notes that you brought there with Rosario taking some reps at first is definitely interesting. Probably to cover their ass just a little bit as the Yankees in case
You
Ben
want
Rice.
as much versatility as
Yeah.
possible. It's like why not? And by the way, in this age for Rosario, who still fancies himself a guy who should get a lot more at bats than just against lefty pitching, the more it's a little bit. We talk about this with the NFL all the time. The more you could do, you play special teams. How many special teams are you want to get your reps so that if you're the backup linebacker, you keep showing, hey, I'm a valuable guy. Look how seriously I'm taking everything. And suddenly you're playing third down. Suddenly it's more. So Rosario's a guy who wants to be on the field. And I think is anybody who saw him late in the season with the Yankees, his work ethic and his enthusiasm were both above average. And the Yankees, as you saw, very much prioritized bringing him back. And I thought he was good for the team, both on and off the field. And if he can handle first base also as average. Again, think about the thing. Ben Rice singles in a 2-2 game in the eighth inning. You want to run for him probably if you got somebody like Caballero on the bench. Who's going in to play first base?
Right.
If Rosario shows he can handle it, it has some value.
It does. It certainly does. In the last part is the outfield bat. While they prefer probably to have a right-handed bat, the compliment to Jason Dominguez playing the outfield there, if they don't come to a conclusion on solving that outfield problem, because we did just see Austin Hayes signed, this past weekend, so another bat that comes off the board for the Yankees potentially. If they can't find that bat in the free agent market or even trade, could you see Paul Goldschmidt certainly being that invite to spring training?
Yeah, and also I think that there's probably a very low number, like $1 million or so, that the Yankees are putting on this with Austin Slater, Randall Grichuk, Paul Goldschmidt, like not a lot of money.
Yeah.
There are guys, and I'm not saying any of these guys fit this category, but I can't tell you how many general managers tell me they offer money to players, and the players will say, I wouldn't even get off the couch for that. That's the line that guys use. And it could be that some guys who are veterans, it's not enough for them. I respect that. Like they feel they should make much more than close. I think the minimum is about 780 this year. Like they feel like, hey, I've played a long time. I should make much more than that to play on your team. And I could see that, but like if you want to play Major League Baseball, that might be the number. And I also think the Yankees do not have to solve it by Monday, next Tuesday, next Wednesday, whenever they're showing up. They may not even have to solve it by March 25th or 26th, whatever the season opener. Because here, let's throw in some wild cards that I don't think they want to do. Both of these players have options, and I think the Yankees want to find a right hand bat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to say that. I think they want to get a right hand bat, and if it was perfect, it would move it to a bunch of positions. But if it's only one place, it would be the ability to play the corner outfield. Again, Bellinger to center, Grisham to the bench. And then if the Yankees are winning the game late, Bellinger back to left, Grisham in, and whoever that right-hand hitter is off the field. So uh, it's easy to forget. He was terrible as a righty hitter last year. But right-handed is Jason Dominguez's natural side. He is a natural right-hand hitter. If you want to believe in Jason Dominguez, and I know that number has come down, the percentage of people who believe in him has come down significantly. It would be he has lost a lot of playing time over the years. And if you think about a guy who isn't playing, the rare times he plays, how few left-handers there are. So he's not getting a lot of reps. So I know a lot of people are saying if Jason Dominguez goes to the minor leagues, his value goes away. But I would say if he goes to the minor leagues and plays every day, he'll play every day
Yeah.
and he'll see lefties also because it's like easy to forget. If you watched Bernie Williams in his career, how proficient he became from the left side. Bernie Williams was a right-hand hitter who learned as like a late teenager how to hit left-handed. And, was a borderline Hall of Fame player. So if you want to believe in Dominguez, he's a natural righty hitter. Would playing every day in the minor leagues bring back some of the natural righty bat? I wouldn't put it at a high percentage, Ryan, but like I wouldn't. He's 23. He
Yeah.
does have some talent. And I know for the people who are saying if he gets sent to the minor leagues, it's over. I don't believe in absolutes generally, and I don't believe in that one. Number two, Oswaldo Cabrera is a switch hitter. He is much better from the left side, and I don't know what to make of very early last season before he got hurt, and it was only 19 plate appearances, and they were all singles, but he was 6 for 19 from the right
The
side.
right side.
And so, like, and again, this is a beloved player in the Yankee environment, in the clubhouse, in the front office. Like Rosario, he brings spirit even when he's not playing. And the Yankees would not mind having him as a multi-tool bench piece, but he has to be able to hit from the right side a little bit. That was last year that, again, a hardworking kid, and he put in a lot of work in the offseason. And if he hadn't fractured his ankle, might we have seen a guy who really had made strides from the right side? So there are potential answers. Let me tell you someone I don't think is a potential answer. So the Yankees signed Paul DeJong
Yeah.
uh, as to a minor league free agent contract. He's a righty hitter and he could play across the infield. And I'm sure he would be an emergency guy. But as a righty hitter, he's never in his career, and he's played for a lot of years now, never really hit lefties. And his strikeout numbers against lefties are bizarrely high. And the Yankees already have a strikeout against lefty problem, unless your names are Bellinger or Rosario. Like all their other guys strike out a ton against lefty pitching. And that was one of the things about Goldschmidt is he didn't. And it created some like put the ball in play diversity against lefty pitchers that it would be nice whoever this next guy is, if you could do that shopping cart thing, it would be best if it was a right hand multi-positional guy who doesn't strike out a lot. I'm going to give you a name of a guy who's still a free agent. The problem, and he plays first base, third base, and left field. The problem is he plays them all terribly. His name is Miguel Andujar.
Mm.
Andujar, over the last 3 years, if you eliminate Aaron Judge, who's better than everybody at almost everything, he's kind of there with guys like Yandy Diaz as like the best hitter against lefty pitching in baseball. Like he's exceptional at it. And he plays first, third, and left. If he was just slightly below average at it, he would almost be ideal. I think he's a hard sign because he probably takes close to the Austin Hayes contract. And I don't think
Mm.
the Yankees want to do that right now, financially. And I just think the Yankees have been in the world of bad defense, including ones with Miguel Andujar when he was on the team and their regular third baseman, and then they tried him in left field. I think it would be a tough sell for them to do it, especially in their left field.
Yeah, it makes sense. And look,
But he is, I mean, I encourage our viewers, if you have the ability to go to some place like Fangraphs or Baseball Reference or whatever, go look at Miguel Andujar's numbers against lefty pitching, especially the last 3 years. It is exceptional.
I was always a big fan of Miguel Andujar when he first
I'm
came
a
up with the
big fan
Yankees.
of the kid. He was a sweet kid. I
Yeah.
liked covering him. It's just like the defense never got even close to average anywhere. And he doesn't hit for enough power to be a full-time DH. And he doesn't hit right-handers well enough to be the foot like he's a part-time bat and exceptional at it. and he's going to get a job because hitting is hard, and he could do it against 25% of the pitchers as well as almost anybody. But the defensive function is just like if he was just a little better at any of those. But he's, and by the way, maybe he'll end up, yeah, I don't know where he's going to end up, but he is perfect because he plays the position and kills lefties. He just can't defend.
Yeah, he kind of
And by the way, was a well-liked player
he's
by
Yankee.
by the Yankee
Yeah.
structure that's still here. They liked him. He was so it's a name. I assume he'll end up somewhere else, but it caught my eye. Hell, he's still at, as the you mentioned, the Rob Refsniders, the Austin Hayeses, the guys who are have that job. The thing is, Hayes and Refsnyder are not great outfielders, but they're a little below average. And so you tolerate it a little more. It's like Andujar's defensive stuff is worse than that.
Yeah, I mean it would be a tough sell also for them defensively. A team that they preach themselves right now and trying to be the best defense, especially in the infield. If he was going to play one of those corner spots, and then the outfield, left field is so tough at Yankee Stadium. It's a tough sell for Miguel Andujar prospect.
Big left field, and like if you're thinking about third base for when, for McMahon against lefty, especially when you have Fried and Rodon
Yeah.
on the mound, especially Fried, but even Rodon, the ball is hit to third base an inordinate amount of
Hmm.
times. And we saw it. McMahon, with all his offensive problems, was an asset to the Yankees last year because he, what had been an unsteady position, he is a well above average defensive third baseman, and kind of like it felt like a different game to some degree when Fried and Rodon were pitching because it was an automatic out when it was hit to him.
Yeah, it unlocks them more to be able to throw balls that they know, hey, I'm going to get a ground ball to 30. I'm going to try my best to get that. So, look, that all came just from the Ben Rice question of how he plays
Yeah,
defensively.
did I go on too long about this? I happen to again. It's going to be on the post tomorrow. There's a
Yeah.
lot more. I give five guys who I think could be available in the trade market. Some stuff on background who the Yankees were looking at this offseason as a right-handed bat. So that will be online tomorrow morning.
It is the biggest question on the Yankees fans' mind is that last bat. If they do address it, where do they get it from? But at the same time, I think heading into what's on the roster here, Ben Rice is definitely the big thing I think we should all be paying attention to. I look forward to the kid continuing to be a strong bat, and then defensively, how does he manage that position full time and being the first baseman every day? The second thing I think a lot of Yankees fans are going to be asking themselves, Joel, as pitchers and catchers report, is Cam Schlittler. The kid came out of nowhere in the playoffs for them, pitched like an absolute ace, showed some high level stuff, showed some high level moxie, I would say, on the mound. The command that he showed just in the postseason pressure and just being very cool and calm on the mound, pitching in the biggest moments. This is a pivotal year for him, it feels like, to show himself being an everyday piece of this rotation going forward. What do you need to see from Cam Schlittler to say, yeah, you know what? The Yankees got themselves a real 1, 2, 3 in their rotation there?
Yeah, again, Ryan, what I think is like I think these are if they're not one, two, three, they're among the important questions here, right? But I think that Cam Schlittler is part of an overall question about the variance of what the Yankee rotation can be. I think there are very plausible scenarios where the Yankees have the best rotation in the American League. And I think there are variables that could go wrong and that this could be an issue. Uh, I think they have as much starting pitching talent as any team in the American League. So Schlittler is part of that talent. What we've never seen from Cam Schlittler is he had major league success. I'm assuming he's got a good head on his shoulders and the Yankees have stayed on it. But did he go home and keep working on it this offseason on his body? Did he add it to his repertoire? How's he going to show up? I think the Yankees are good at offseason programs. They stay on guys, etc. But like we don't know that. We haven't seen what a full season major league workload looks on him. 160 in the major leagues. So there's that. The cameo, especially the playoff game against the Red Sox, obviously, where you're standing and saying, it's all on the line, dude. And this guy's coming through the way he came through. Pretty impressive, right?
Mhm.
Like, pretty impressive. And so he's part of that. But let's talk about another player. Luis Gil won the Rookie of the Year in 2024. Like it's so easy to forget. We move on to next so quickly. He was the rookie of the year. He started postseason games, started a World Series game, I think, right? Big arm. And last year didn't go well
No.
in any way. Now, if you ask a Yankee person today who they're excited about coming into spring training, if you ask the 5 or 7 most important people in the Yankee organization, I bet you on anybody's top 3 to 5 list is Luis Heel.
Really?
Because Luis Heel, I think, had like the coming to God moment. And this offseason, if you talk to Yankee people, was constantly on video with them, constantly updating them about what he was working on, conditioning, etc. And they are so excited about what they've seen this offseason from a guy who, remember, while Cole was out at the beginning of the 2024 season,
He was unbelievable.
would have been top 5 in the AL and Cy Young. He pitched like Garrett Cole for those like 7, 8 weeks while Cole was out. Like he's fallen off the radar a little. He's become the guy like every Yankee fan is. Why don't we trade Hill for the thing we need? That is not how the Yankees are looking at it. So like is Hill 2024 Hill? Is Schlittler late season last year? Does Cole come back like guys coming back from Tommy John surgery? I have a lot of belief, even in his mid to late 30s, in Cole. But maybe his best again is 2027.
Yeah.
Like next year. Rodon had trouble even extending his elbow late in the season. He kind of like worked through it. But he did have to have surgery. What does he look like coming back? What does Fried look like on his biggest workload ever? What is Will Warren? And then I think a great wild card in this is Ryan Weathers, who is a power lefty. And at the worst, maybe falls into power lefty in the bullpen guy for a team who might need that. Probably more on that as we talk later on your third thing. But right, again, if you called around the league and you said, who are like the 10 to 15 teams you have like respect for how they go about their business? I bet you half of them were trying to get Ryan Weathers. I know about half of them were trying to get Ryan Weathers because they saw him as a piece of clay that like he's 26, 27. He has a big arm, a big fastball. He's a hard worker. In fact, if you talk to anybody, and these are not Yankee people, I made calls to people who've had him at various levels. They'll tell you a lot of his problems have been his answer to everything is to throw more and work harder. And they think one of the reasons he's gotten hurt a lot is he's merciless on himself and he's been throw more and work harder. So I just named 7 or 8 guys,
Yeah.
and maybe there's Clark Schmidt sitting on August 1st to come back from Tommy John surgery. And the Yankees like Carlos Agrange and they like Elmer Rodriguez as potential guys who might fit in someplace. They've got a lot of starting pitching talent, and they have a lot of variant results on all of those guys because of either workload last year, surgery, talent, and hasn't blossomed yet. Talent regressed. Does he come back again? It's there for that rotation. When people say, like, oh, the Yankees kept the same team. Well, the Yankees didn't have Weathers last year and they didn't have Cole. They didn't have the best version of Hill and they didn't have Schlittler all year.
Yeah.
That might be 4 of the 5 guys in their rotation at some point,
Yeah.
right? Like, we'll see.
We'll see.
And they're all very talented. And you can tell me that you and I are doing a show at the All-Star break, and we're talking about, wow, the Yankees are in first place by 4 games. And I think the biggest reason is they put a really good starter on the mound every game. And you and I could be sitting at the All-Star break, and the Yankees are hovering around 500. And we're talking about what do they do at the trade deadline. And I would say the biggest reason is a lot of these variables went the wrong way in their starting rotation. Like Weathers didn't become the guy. Hill got hurt again. Fried's workload led to an injury. Rodon, was slow to come back. Cole was slow to come back. Like you could convince me of either
Yeah.
scenario today but I think that starting pitching wise, they're in a much better big picture space today than part of their depth last year is Marcus Stroman and Carlos Carrasco and no, completely unknown Will Warren, whose name I haven't even mentioned, and made 33 starts in the major leagues last year. And like he might be the sixth or seventh starter. And I think most teams would say, where do I sign up for Will Warren as my sixth or seventh starter? So I think they have a much better starting platform, no pun intended, but variation possibilities on that platform from the best to uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, there's so much.
And he'll and your guy falls there.
Yeah, no, and
Like the difference, like if 2024 Luis Hill shows up
oh,
and stays healthy in a way he didn't for all of 2024 and makes 25 to
oh,
30 starts. Like again, that's not the same team as last year.
no, but
Like
if you get freed with a 2024 version of Luis Heel with Cam Schlittler, if he shows up like he did in the playoffs, that's a deadly 1-2-3 without Cole and Rodon even inserted into that rotation yet for the
or
to
and
start.
I'm telling you, I'm not again, it's
It's an
probably
unknown with
it's
Weathers, right?
under it's
It's an
probably
unknown with
under
Weathers.
50-50 with Weathers, right?
Yeah,
Like Miami wasn't not trying to keep
right.
him healthy and get the best out of him. We saw it in little spurts, but he's not nothing.
No,
Like the teams I respect when I made phone calls, the teams I respect were like there's a lot there. And so we'll see. I mean, of course there was a lot there. He was the seventh pick in a draft.
yeah.
Like, like
Talent's never been a question with Ryan Weathers.
correct. And so now the question is at 26, 27, with a new organization that has done well by pitching, like refining stuff, etc. Is he does he hit a thing where you're like, wow, look at that. Like
Yeah.
the Yankees have a power young lefty for the next 3 years in their rotation. I thought it was a very, very worthwhile trade for a team looking to stock depth and upside,
No,
which is
100%.
an option too.
Yeah,
Send
it
minors.
the thing too is that they're giving themselves another option of variance and seeing what they can get from him. And Will Warren's, well, we didn't talk much about him in that part right there. That's a great five to have, in my opinion, because that guy, what he showed last year is giving the ball every fifth day, and he'll give you everything he got on that fifth day. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not so great, but
You
it,
know the thing with him, Ryan. There's two bugaboos with Warren, right? Number one is he is not good when it's going wrong at
yeah,
taking a bad inning and leaving it to a run or two runs. Like exchanging outs for a run, especially early in the game. There were too many 3, 4, 5 run innings for him over the year that really, especially against the better offenses, So, the Yankees are going to try to play for it all this year. So the fact that he did not perform well against good teams is that. And a lot of that is caked into he has trouble against lefty hitters.
mm,
And is he physically capable of coming up with a pitch that neutralizes lefties enough where he is because the version of him last year is a good sturdy number five starter.
absolutely.
You would like to do better if you're a team playing for it all. And so like he's got to be able to manage innings better when things are going wrong, and he's got to come up with something that gets lefty hitters out with some regularity.
And look, he believes in his stuff.
And
He's
he's a
worked.
confident kid
Yeah.
also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Matt Blake's worked with him big time on developing that stuff. And I think,
That's a good development. Like he
yeah,
was not a first or second round draft choice. It's a good development. They got 33 starts out of a guy, like this time last year when we were doing the show, we would not have
no.
mentioned the name. And he
Well,
led the team in starts
well, what's
and saved
interesting,
them and saved them.
well, what's
Right,
interesting, yeah, I mean, he did because he was able to again take that ball every fifth day. But something
right.
that's starting pitching so fickle. Injuries happen a lot to starters, and you have to kind of account for that. The thing I'll say though with Cam Schlittler though is you talked about him in spring training last year, Joel, and you said,
Yeah.
you know what, Ryan, Yankees, I'm not saying anything about Cam Schlittler like he's going to be a everyday starter for them, but you said Yankees people are impressed with this kid, like they like
Yes.
what he's got,
I mean, that's
and
why you go, right? This is why you talk to people. This is why you go. Like they say things to you like, man, Luis Gil's really impressed us this offseason. Hey, Ben Rice might be our number five hitter. Don't sleep on it. Hey, this kid Cam Schlittler, like, have you noticed we didn't send him down the first two times we did cuts?
mm-hmm,
He's still here for a reason. Like they're pitching guys, like I passed by them And like I've known these guys a long time. They'd say, "Have you noticed that we haven't sent Schlittler down yet?" And I said, "I've noticed." You know, I think I was the guy who early in spring training last year like wrote like I think JC Escarra might make their team. Here's the story about the Uber driver. Like there is a reason to be kind of around, and you hear things. And look, I'll throw in this other thing is just to create more depth. We have not mentioned the names Ryan Yarbrough and Paul Blackburn,
Yeah.
like who got guaranteed contracts. And if I were sitting today saying, do they make it the full season as Yankees? The odds are probably not great. But if they have injuries and you're starting Paul Blackburn or Ryan Yarbrough, and they begin as if you had full health, like 9 and 10 or 10 and 11 on your depth chart, like we saw Ryan Yarbrough was another guy. Those like 6 to 8 starts he made when there was no other alternative and he pitched well. Like good teams often figure out ways to get things done. And like it's amazing because we talk about off seasons and I think I pointed that out last year. I mean, the Blue Jays had one of the worst off seasons you could have last year. And they went to like they should have won the World Series. They beat the hell out of the Yankees. And part of their bad off season was they released Ryan Yarbrough just before the beginning of the season last year, and the Yankees scooped them up. And one of the reasons the Yankees pestered them right to the end was they had Ryan Yarbrough for those like 8 starts when they had like they were staring at Alan Winans, who was
Yeah.
not a major league starter.
No.
But Ryan Yarbrough was like good enough to get them through about 6 weeks. And that was invaluable until he got hurt. And so, like, the fact that Blackburn and Yarborough are probably number 5.5 starters in the major leagues is good depth. It does lead to some interesting bullpen questions because with full health, they're both going to be in it. And then, like, I think the Yankees would say that's good news, not bad news. We'll see.
We'll see. And that leads us to the third thing, right? So we talk about the rotation because the rotation ultimately, how far they go into games is going to impact this bullpen and how much it's going to be taxed early on in the season if the rotation doesn't perform or does perform, depending on that variance. So the third thing, Joel, is the bullpen as it's currently constructed. We know that Bednar's coming back, Duvall's coming back, Fernando Cruz. Those are the big three high leverage arms you would say in that bullpen for the Yankees.
Tim Hill from the left side.
Tim Hill from the left side, right? And
If they have a left situation in the sixth or seventh inning, I assume he's the guy.
how do you see the rest of this bullpen taking shape? Because let's not forget, after the trade deadline last year, it was one of the worst statistical bullpens in all of baseball and how they performed. Now, I know a lot of that was the Luke Weaver potentially tipping pitches, Devin Williams just not being a closer, better off in the eighth inning, but still was not a great year in terms of his career. So, where do you see this Yankees bullpen as it's currently constructed?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll keep an eye from now until the beginning of the season, and then from the beginning of the season to July 31st on bullpen guys. Every contender adds a bullpen guy or two before July 31st at the deadline. I would say something happened last year that hadn't happened in a while.
Mm,
The Yankees didn't have a good surprise out of the bullpen. Like like the year before, they had Hill, they had Jake Cousins, a little bit of Ian Hamilton.
yeah.
Like they had been. If you go back and look year after year, they were good at like their pro scouting department and analytics group were really good at finding the profile of stuff they liked, and then their pitching group, Matt Blake, etc., were good at scrap this, add this, think about this part of the strike zone, whatever it was. They got a lot of good work out of, like kind of like Clay Holmes is like a great example of like that was a trade deadline where I wonder if anyone wrote 3 sentences about them getting Clay Holmes, and he turned into a really good pitcher for them for 3.5 years, I think. And so that didn't happen last year. Now, was that, hey, the rest of the sport caught up and some of the guys the Yankees maybe wanted on the margins, they don't get on the margins anymore? Did the Yankees lose some feel for this? Or is it a bump in the road and they'll go right back to it? Because again, I'm going to throw out a name, and I would say the high likelihood is most people fail in the major leagues instead of succeed. But a lot of people in their organization really like Brett Hedrick, like who's a power lefty who did in little moments last year, was probably the closest to the, oh, that's interesting,
Yeah.
kept getting hurt,
Yeah.
right? But He is what they don't have right now. Tim Hill and Yarborough are soft throwing lefties. Hedrick is a power guy. Can he, with now a full off season, fully committed with the Yankees, fully committed to the bullpen, how does he come in? Because he has fans.
Yeah.
The Yankees acquired Jake Bird at the deadline last year as a key guy. And in the two or three times he went out to the mound, he looked like a high school kid trying to pitch against major leaguers. Was that because he pitched in altitude all year and he was heavily used and he changed? Like, can you change more? Like, while Ryan McMahon seemed to embrace New York, like Jake Bird did not. And so, where is he on this group? Do the Yankees get the guy who pitched the first two-thirds of last season? If they do, that's a seventh inning guy.
Mm.
Like if he pitches like he did for them last year. I'm going to throw out another name. Dylan Coleman, who was once a pretty good relief pitcher for the Kansas City Royals. I'm giving you names I've heard from Yankee
Yeah.
people over
Yeah.
the last month. They signed him to a minor league contract. I talked to his agent recently. I'm going to forget, like he went to a weird state. Can I do this real quickly?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was like a facility, maybe the guy's from there. He was Rhode Island
Okay.
facility, and he kind of like got his motion back, and he kind of like whatever. He's been throwing over 100 miles per hour this offseason. Now, again, like Dylan Coleman might be Nick Verdi, who was throwing 100 miles an hour also. Like most people fail. The guy they just traded for from
Yeah.
Colorado,
Chivali.
yes, has a huge arm. So I think the Yankees are going to push a bunch of these chips that they've traditionally pushed and usually have gotten good results from one or two or three over the full season. They did not last year. It is possible they don't this year, but their track record is that they find a guy or two like this. I just threw out some names of people who I've heard over the last like 4 or 5 weeks when I'd say to whenever I call a person on Cody Bellinger, I also say, like, tell me something I don't know. Or what's interesting you, or who's down in Himes, right? Himes is the Yankees minor league facility. That's the street it's on. It's across the street from where they are. And I think it's across the street from where the Tampa Bay Rays are going to play eventually. Also, I think that's the place they're going to move, which is the Hillsborough Community College right now, for anyone who cares about geography in Tampa.
So they're not going back to George Steinbrenner Field again this year?
Oh no, no, they're going to play in St. Pete. They're going to play in
Oh,
their home, but they're going to build a
okay.
new. I think the new stadium. Like Ryan, you were down in the last year,
Yes.
right? Spring
Yes.
training. You have Steinbrenner Field across the street from it is where the Buccaneers play.
Yeah.
Kitty quarter to it is where the Yankee minor league is. If you complete the square, it's Hillsborough Community College, which is this large track. And right now, that's the odds-on place that the Rays are, if they
Gotcha.
get approval to move to Tampa
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and open a stadium, say 2029, that right now is the most likely footprint for it. So you would have, like, it would be like me telling you, you know where Central Park is? You're going to have a Major League Baseball team, an NFL football team, a minor league baseball, I'm sorry, a spring training facility where, by the way, the single A Yankees play, and the Yankees minor league complex all in Central Park. Like about
Crazy.
that big an area, probably a little bigger than that even. But like that is going to be on Dale maybe again, three of the four are already there. So we're talking about do the Ray right now. Anyway, I don't know how we got on Rays talk here. I'm sorry I segued out, but that's the most likely place for that. So so anyway, when I talk to people, I'm like who looks good at Hines, like who's there. Judge has really started, like one of the values of Judge as a captain that's well respected and followed is he bought a house in Tampa,
Yeah.
and he begins using the facility and he's become a Pied Piper. I I bet. So today we're doing Monday before kind of like spring training fully opens next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in most places across. I bet you 75% of the Yankee 40-man roster and some of the minor league signings are already working out. And I would say that Judge's value is really shown there.
Yeah, no doubt. And he's getting himself ramped up for World Baseball Classic as well, too, which
And
is
Boone said that, and by the way, we're seeing problems with insurance. I would say the fact that Judge is playing in this tournament means that he's insured. And Boone said his elbow's fine. That was obviously a big issue last year. I'd still worry about it. Like, Cole hurt his elbow last year, came back and didn't make it through spring training. So, pitcher and outfielder, obviously different things, but there is a pre-existing injury in there in some way.
vastly changed the expectations for this team if Judge has
Well,
serious
I
elbow
mean, you go
issues.
from having, is he the best or second best player in the world? It's him and Otani stand above the universe.
Yeah.
And he's, an eight war player kind of rolling out of bed. And, I mean, he's obvious. The difference between him batting 600 times and not batting 600 times is staggering for them.
Certainly is. Joel Sherman. Those are fun three things we just went through for Yankees fans to pay attention to before spring training and pitchers and catchers report next week. We're looking forward to your coverage throughout. Pay attention, all you fans out there that watch this show. Tomorrow, Joel will have a new piece coming out about the Yankees on Post Sports Plus. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you pay attention to what Joel's posting tomorrow. And as always, we thank you for joining in here. And Joel, thank you so much, man, for hopping on here and giving us all your insight.
Yeah, not soundtrack. The thank is, I know we're getting more and more viewers. The thanks is always to them so that we could keep this going.
Absolutely. Joel Sherman, thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Ryan.